All right, and welcome to the Gamma Quadrant. We're glad you guys have joined us tonight. We're going to be picking up right where we left off last time. The crew returned back to their ship with S331, fondly referred to as Smarty, and Pranac, who is a Jalur explorer, sentry, guide, whatever you want to call him, and he is familiar with the area. So, for those of you that did not catch us last time, spoiler alert, I'm gonna touch on what we did last time. So if you haven't yet seen that episode, go ahead and go to the video section, and you can catch up on the last episode. So, for those of you that are all caught up, here we go. So, the crew went to the village of Craa, Craa. And there they encountered a somewhat primitive species known as the Jalur. The Jalur are six-armed creatures who are kind of cold-blooded. They need the warmth of the sun, so they kind of hang in these large metal discs to heat their bodies. But they had with them something that they refer to as the mechanical sage. And the mechanical sage is some kind of craft that when the previous Jump Corp crew landed, they were asked to repair it. And as the crew of the Luna Sea arrived, they saw the final stages of that repair, and ultimately the successful repair of their mechanical sage. However, when the craft began functioning again, some large arms extended from the craft pulled the Jump Corp crew that had been working on it inside, and took off to the north, flying over the mountain range that Craa is nested in, and headed in the direction of some of the northern settlements of the Jalur. They were provided with a guide in the name of Pranac, who I mentioned before, who went with them back to the ship so that they could recharge Smarty, because Smarty speaks the local language. So he's somewhat of a protocol droid. For those familiar with the Star Wars franchise, that's kind of how he is programmed. And so from that perspective, we're going to pick up right there. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it over to the crew, and here we go. All right. Hello there, crew. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Great.
All right. Perfect. So, those watching at home will notice that, T Prime down there hasn't yet joined us. He is planning on joining us from last we heard, so I'm going to keep his seat warm until he gets here. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and kick off with those that we do have. So actually, I'll go right into the fantasy grounds. There we go. So that way, folks watching at home can see the map. So here we go. So, all right, you guys are, kind of in the area labeled crash site here on the map. And that's where your ship is landed, where the Luna Sea is landed. And there are a series of villages to the north. And so, as Smarty reaches an acceptable charge level, his eyes kind of glow and he kind of pitches back, and there's a moment of kind of rebooting where he comes up and he says, S331 at your service, Captain. How may I be of assistance?
First of all, what happened? What was that mechanical sage thing?
It appears, sir, that there are a series of probes that landed on this planet many, many years ago. These creatures, the Jalur, have revered them almost with godlike status. Some of the probes are active and some of them are not. But when we arrived at Craa, the Craa probe was offline. The captain and first officer were instructed or asked, depending on how you interpreted the request, to help repair the probe that was damaged. They informed us that the probe was damaged during a Molil attack. The Molil appear to be a more primitive version of the Jalur, who have retained some of their barbaric origins. They are quite formidable fighters in hand-to-hand combat. However, the planet lacks sufficient technology for propelled weapons.
Can you see
What happened
where
with the original? Oh, go ahead.
I was seeing if they could see where the mechanical sage more specifically went. We know it went north, but we don't know anything more specific about that. Is there a way we can sense it?
Unfortunately, we cannot. The technology that compromises the mechanical sage is something we have not yet previously recorded. So as a result, there is no signature that we can use to try to track its whereabouts. However, Prighton, the Jalur that was provided to us, may know more about where the mechanical sage may have gone.
So what happened to the original ship? Like, it was pretty messed up. Like, what happened up there?
We experienced an electrical disturbance that seemed to move from system to system. Though the captain and first mate tried desperately to restore function, it seemed every time that they managed to lock out the anomaly, it simply jumped to another system. It was quite unusual. Ultimately, we were forced to abandon ship as a result.
If this primitive race was worshipping this mechanical device as a god, why were you referred to as the mechanical devil or monster?
Because my technology differs significantly from the mechanical sage. So as a result, they saw me as a threat. Because I did not conform to the standards of what they had established as godhood.
So you weren't going to be a part of their system, man?
Unfortunately, no. I was simply looking to establish some lines of communication. I was able to observe them long enough to pick up significant portions of their language. I think more thorough conversation would allow me to become truly fluent. But at this point, I feel confident that and he just kind of begins to drone on about how his programming is designed to provide etiquette and protocol capabilities and that, blah, blah, blah. And so go ahead.
Can I learn the language or somehow put a translator onto my handheld computer or something like that?
So Smarty may be able to provide, some context for your handheld, which would allow for you to at least kind of have it wouldn't be real time, but you'd be able to see written output of the spoken language.
Okay, because I see a languages section, there's just nothing there, so I wasn't sure how the mechanics worked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, ultimately with enough practice, or enough exposure, you feel like you could pick up the language, but, I guess at this point you're kind of hoping not to be here that long to where you'd become fluent in the language.
No, I'm at a...
Should we go get grade 8?
Cute 6-armed girl around here?
There may be. I don't know how you feel about those eye stalks, but
I'm honestly kind of intimidated by just the 6 arms. I'm not used to people having more arms than I do.
Right.
To be honest.
Understood. So Smarty suggests that you guys bring Prighton over so that they can, so that you can ask him questions and he can interpret. But he feels like Prighton is probably the most valuable resource you guys have right now in finding his captain and first mate.
Yep.
So
yeah, we'll definitely go grab. Calling him Crichton.
Prighton, Prighton.
Prighton. Okay. Nope. I got it wrote down right here. Yep. Prighton. Yeah, we'll bring him over.
So, so he kind of, he comes over and, he makes a series of, he speaks very little of your language. He's been picking up a word or two as you guys have been conversating, but he comes over and he says, "Hello, Praitan."
Hello.
And,
Smarty, could you ask him where this metal sage would go?
So so they exchange, and Smarty comes back and says, "It is possible that the metallic sage or the metal sage has traveled to any one of the following areas: either the village of Farah, the village of Courtcrew, the village of Ranna, or the village of Vortra. Those villages also have a similar metal sage." And so Prighton believes that it could be going to interface or communicate with the other metallic sages.
Mm-hmm. We can choose the one to the furthest to the east or the furthest to the west and sort of work our way through.
Yep.
But it sounds like we're probably going to have to find this thing on foot, Captain.
So Prighton says, "Courtcrew is 5 days away. It is a cave structure that is that all of the villagers of Courtcrew live in caves that dot the the hillside over there." He says that he has been to Courtcrew before, and that the metallic sage there is located in a tomb under the village. He says he's also been to Rana, and he tells you that Rana is 3 days away, and it is a relatively large village, but it sits on the open plain. It is almost surrounded by a large lake, and protected by a wall on one side. But he says that the last time he was there, the metallic sage that was there was damaged, and so he is unsure if it still functions. But he has not. Sorry, he has not been to the other villages.
When you said 3 days travel, was that their assessment on foot?
Yes.
I bet they didn't calculate it in land speeders.
Yeah, and he also says that it would be in your best interest to avoid the lands of Molil, because the Molil raiders are dangerous.
Thankfully, they're south. Now, I'm not the smartest person of all time, but I think we can tell north from south.
Think we could do what?
Do we have a compass? Tell north from south and avoid the lands of Molil.
If we have astral navigation, I'm assuming we'd be able to tell east and west. I hope so.
Well, it's sort of like, astrophysicists may have trouble multiplying a couple simple numbers,
So aside from Rania, you're not going to be able to get your ship close enough to the other locations. Farah, Vortra, Courtcrew, because they're in like dense forest. Rania is in the low plains, so you'd be able to move your ship over there fairly easily.
Rana also seems to be the closest. But then we'd have to go left to Courtcrew or east to Vortra. So we'd have to go from there. But maybe we can check Rana first. seems to be pretty cool on a lake like that. And then we can see if we can repair their mechanical sage. You know, it's only broken until I get my hands on it.
Yeah. And do we need to go back to Kra today?
No. So, you don't have to. So what they wanted to do, or what the folks in Kra wanted you to do, was to return with Prighton with the charged robot to prove that he was helpful. You could do that very quickly before you head anywhere else.
Okay. And we probably need to go get Grade 8 as well, right?
If you don't have to. His battery is dead. He is at the crash site. So you'd have to cut him out, and that'll take several hours.
He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not.
It's up to y'all, but I would have just assumed grab him, and I mean, we don't even have to charge him, but at least get his body.
Listen, digging him out would take a few hours, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Even digging him out. So, I mean, do we know much about his mechanics? Will he be corroding super quickly in the hot desert sun of the crash site?
No, he will not.
See?
But he's the security droid, right?
He is engineer and security. Yeah.
Engineer and security.
We already have an engineer.
And he's got 4 arms. His 4 arms, 2 of them were crushed and destroyed.
He's worthless now. He's only got 2 arms. What?
Nothing. So yeah. So it's up to you guys. Where it is you want to go, what you want to do. Again, you don't necessarily have to go to Kra. They wanted you to come back to prove that that you were trustworthy. But it's up to you. You guys could say, "Oh, well, screw that. Let's go do what we need to do."
Well, I have a code of honor, and so I think I'm going to. I think part of my code of honor is going to kind of make me want to go and get the body of Grade 8. I don't care if we charge him up or fix him, but at least recover his body.
Captain, you care this much about these backward savages?
We could just put all of his pieces in the cargo hold.
We could just shoot them all with lasers. They don't have lasers. It's up to you, Captain. Let's set course back to Kra then.
Yep.
That's step 1, I think.
So we'll go get a Grade 8, throw him in a cargo hold, and then make our way to Kra, and then let them know our intentions of going to Rana. I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's gonna take probably about 4 hours, and then some tools. So you'll need a plasma cutter to try to cut away the pieces of failed ship or crushed ship escape pod. If that's what you want to do, I'll just go ahead and take from Kadura a repair roll. See if you're successful, and then ultimately how long it takes. Okay, you are successful, so go ahead and roll me a d4, please.
All right. There you go.
Okay, so it takes 3 hours, and you are successful in cutting Grade 8 out. So you managed to retrieve the bot. So let me go ahead and throw him into your combat tracker, just so that actually I'll go ahead and pull him up here. Here we go. I'll put him in the combat tracker, and then I'll share him with Kadura, because there we go. So now you have access to him, but he is currently dead. Just a reminder. His battery is just about depleted. Or, well, it is depleted. He's in like emergency power shutdown mode.
knock on his head. Tell me a joke. Alexa. No. We can bring him back to the ship and charge him, Captain. And then, as we take care of business in Pranac, perhaps he'll be charged, and then we can take him with us to the other places.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna move the ship to Rhonda, you can plug him in while you guys travel over there and leave him aboard so he can charge up a little bit.
Yeah, that's...
Yep, I think that's what we'll do.
Alright.
Okay.
Is there a way we can repair his arms?
That's gonna take a good amount of time, and you're gonna need parts. So you don't have a droid like him on board. So most likely you'd have to go back to one of the stations to get the appropriate parts.
Okay. But he's still got a little bit of combat ability still with 2 arms, right?
Yes, but he'll be limited.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so did you guys want to head to Rana?
We're gonna go to Craw, let them know our
Okay.
intentions, and would like to keep Preeton with us as a translator.
Okay.
Not only translator, because obviously we have the, Smarty, but a kind of like as a, hey, we're cool, because, he's with us, kind of thing.
Okay, so you guys...
Emissary. That'd be a better word.
Yeah. So you guys make it back to Kruh, and when you arrive, a group of Jalur meet you kind of at the gates. And when you walk up, Prighton and the group of Jalur kind of have a back and forth. And the only thing that you guys kind of make out of the exchange is Klal, right? Which you remember from your last visit to Kruh. Klal is the female leader of the Kruh tribe of Jalur. So they escort you to the kind of chamber of Klal, and so as you walk in, you see Klal kind of standing in front of one of those large metal discs. The metal disc that she's standing in front of, though, is it's actually inside, but there's a hole cut in the ceiling of the building that kind of focuses the light directly onto it. And so when you approach, she has a conversation very quickly with Prighton, and then she addresses you and she says, "Prighton say, good treat you." And she says, must find mechanical sage to north. And then
north?
Yep.
Yeah, and then
it's north.
so Smarty speaks in Jalur to her, and she puts her hand up, right? No, you no speak. No here. And then Prighton speaks to her. She speaks back to him, and then Smarty says to you guys that she believes that the mechanical sage has headed to the north to most likely Vortra, but she's not sure, and that when it was functional, it would occasionally travel between the villages and communicate with the other mechanical sages.
Would it go to all of them, like one after the other, or would it just sort of randomly go to Farah for a day and then come back, and then another day go to Kokskuru and then come back?
It would go for varying lengths of time.
Would it have visited multiple villages with each
She
excursion?
doesn't know.
Oh, okay.
She knows that it would disappear and then it would return after, some period of time. Sometimes a day, sometimes a week, sometimes a month.
All right.
So she says that the first village is Ranya, and Ranya is friendly to Kra. But be careful of Molio raiders.
All right.
I don't have any more questions for her. I don't know if you guys do.
So she Smarty says she wishes us to hurry. She's being very specific that what happened here was very unusual. The mechanical sage never attacked the Jalur, spoke to the Jalur all the time, and she's very concerned that it may be offended by the other worlders, touching it. And so she's nervous that she's never going to see it again.
Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, it's fine. We're going to take our ship up to Renah, and then we'll speak with them, and then see what we find out there.
I'm ready, Captain.
I think we definitely have to keep in mind the possibility that the sage will go to each of these villages, or more than one.
Okay. So you guys head back to your ship and head up to Ranya.
Yep, as close as we can get to Renah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I see a clearing near Farah as well.
Yeah.
So now I don't know if my character would have this map, but I mean that would be another place I could probably get the ship really close to.
Yeah, you feel like you could scan and see if maybe it's a suitable size. I mean, your ship is not huge, but it's large enough to where you need, a suitable amount of space to bring it down gently. So that clearing may be sufficient at Farah.
Okay.
And yes, you do have this map because it was what you retrieved
That's right.
from the distant light.
Do we have parachutes?
No.
Because we can have the ship fly us above, like the forest or whatever, drop us, have the AI continue to fly, and fly over to the clearing or something like that. We can call it back when needed. So we don't have to go on foot. But if we don't have parachutes, we'll just have to, roll as soon as we hit the ground.
Well, some of the areas like Court Crew and Vortra, the tree canopy is very thick. And so even with parachutes, there's a good chance you'd get hung up in the tree canopy. So, but yeah, okay. So you approach Ranya, you find a, well, I'll ask you. I mean, where do you wanna sit down? It's surrounded, it's almost surrounded by a large lake with a big wall on the landward side. So it's almost like a peninsula. Okay, so there's water all around, kind of three sides, and then one side is a large wall. So where did you want to try to sit down?
Do we have the capability to do a water landing?
No. Your ship isn't designed for water landing. It needs a solid surface to land.
Figured I'd ask.
Yeah. Depending on how deep the lake is, maybe you could still land in it. But you have not yet scanned that information.
Is there a door in the wall? Maybe we can just go in, land on the coast and then walk in through the main gate.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. So you do remember that that Ranya is friendly to Kra. that Prighton mentioned that he has been there before, so he may have contacts there or know someone there.
Why don't we ask Triton? Is there? Do we land on land or on water?
Well, so I'm assuming you asked Smarty to ask him. But
Sure.
But Smarty replies back, Crichton feels it is best to enter through the main entrance, through the main walled entryway. Any other path into the city may raise concerns about your origin. So, just outside of Ranya, there's a clearing that you guys can set down in, which would bring you to the walled side of Ranya. Is that what you wanted to do?
Yep.
Yeah, T Pranc's just gonna join us in a couple minutes here, so I think we just saw that.
Yep, I saw it. I'm going to get him in here in just a second. So you can land and and make your way to the wall, Prighton mentions that that he has a friend or he has a person, an acquaintance that is called Nup, who he knows, that he will look for.
Okay. How long will it take him to find his friend Nup?
He doesn't know. So, once you land and approach the gate, then he'd be able to tell.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll land. We'll give him a few minutes, I say, to kind of go in and let them know that we're coming, and then after that, give them 20 minutes, and then we'll come in.
Okay. All right. So now that you're closer, right? You clearly see the large plain. You see the lake, and then the wall on the landward side, and so so you guys approach. Sorry. Correction. Prighton approaches because I think that's what you said. You wanted Prighton to try to approach himself. Is that what you wanted to have happen?
Yeah, I mean, he can kind of go introduce us before we, step up on their doorstep. And
Sure.
give them 20 minutes, and then we can go in.
You can make a
Unless
hand
we
signal
see
or whatever.
like the Mala Raiders or whatever. Obviously we'll keep a lookout for those guys.
Sure. So he approaches, and it was kind of similar to Kra when you guys approached, but there are a series of discs kind of lining the outside of the wall. They're like these portcullises almost, with those metal discs in the middle of them. And you guys see he walks up and he has a conversation, and one of them kind of hops off the disc and goes and opens a large set of doors, and he turns towards you and with two arms kind of motions you towards him.
Okay. Then we'll start approaching.
Okay. So as you guys approach, there's a group of probably about a dozen Jalar that are, like kind of waiting for you at the entryway. And as you guys get closer, again, really the only thing you can make out from the conversation is Nup. So you hear them talking about Nup, who they're going to bring you to see, and then so Smarty tells you we're being taken to the leader of Ranya, a Jalur called Nup, and apparently Prighton is in high regards here with the Ranya tribe. So you guys, you make it to, there's like a central area of the town, and as you approach, there's kind of a courtyard, a large, a large kind of grass planed courtyard. And there are a series of trees, just like these kind of thin trees that are arranged in a circular pattern. And then within the middle of the circular pattern is their version of the mechanical sage. And so they bring you to this kind of observation area, and they're, and as you're standing over it, you see about 6 different Jalur just kind of, arranged around this thing. And you hear the Jalur that are next to it talking to it, and it responding in almost a robotic kind of voice back to them in the local language. And then another kind of more formally dressed Jalur approaches, and he and Prighton kind of embrace. And then he turns and he says, "This is Nup." And then, and so Smarty says, "This is the leader, Nup, of the Ranya tribe. He is happy to make your acquaintance." All right.
Happy to meet him as well.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, T Prime. We get it. Things happen. Glad to have you back with us now. So just to catch you up real quick, the crew went back to Kra, met with Klal, who was the leader of the Kra tribe of Jalur. Okay. And then had a discussion. She gave them some information about the probe, which ultimately, that it's not unusual for a fully functioning probe to travel between the various villages. However, what happened yesterday was very unusual, that it kind of attacked a person. So it's never attacked a Jalur. And so she's very concerned that the presence of the other worlders may have offended it. So the group has moved the Lunar Sea over to the area of Ranya. So if you look at the Rollwind region map that I've shared with you, you'll see the village of Ranya. And so they are over at the village of Ranya right now. So they just were escorted inside to speak with the leader, Nop, who is currently standing on kind of a balcony area overlooking a courtyard where there are a series of trees in a circle, and then there are about 6 Jalur lined up in a circle around what looks like another one of those probes, or one of those mechanical sages. And so you've just been introduced to Nop. So Nop and Prighton, who is your guide that was provided by Klull, are familiar. They are friendly with each other. And so he introduces you to Nop. He says, Nop says, and Smarty translates, "What can I help you with? Welcome to Ranya."
No, I can't hear you, T-Prime. Oh.
Okay. So you guys, what did you want to talk to Nop about? What questions did you want to ask him? T Prime wants to use sign language, which is probably effective, I guess. Okay.
We could, we searched for the mechanical sage of the village of Kra. It was seen heading north at a rapid pace. Did you see it pass through here?
Yes, I saw this. It traveled from south to north.
Okay. So we did not stop in your village.
No. But he says, please, you must not touch our sage. It too may fly away.
Deal. But I would like to get a closer look at it to see exactly what
Go up to
it
the
is.
sage. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
He
Not
says,
touching
I'm
Not
sorry, and this is translated from Smarty. Smarty says, he says he is sorry, but getting closer may ultimately cause a bigger issue. He says this is as far as he is willing to allow you to observe it.
All right, well,
Wait,
let's
that's-
observe it. What, is there anything that we can see from here?
Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff you can see. So let's see. So it's got a conical metal structure. It has 5 kind of short legs that are equally spaced around its base. The top of it is dotted with like glass domes and vertical metal rods. Yeah, so that's basically that's what you see. And now you remember seeing the other one at Kruh, but it was very quick. Like, basically it wasn't working, and then all of a sudden, it was working, and then when it started working, it flew away very quickly. So this one appears to be active, but there's definitely some damage to it as well. It looks pretty significantly damaged.
I point to the damage and ask if that's from the Mala Raiders.
No. He says, so Smarty says, no. He says the damage has always been there. They have been unable to repair it. But he fears that outsiders working on it may cause it more damage. And he prefers to leave it. The sage says that it is operating correctly, even though it is damaged.
And Kadora is sort of overwhelmed with fascination at this thing. Well, he's never this sort of alien technology that he's never seen before. He says, "Please, let me closer so I can at least look at the damage and assess the state of it. I will have no physical contact with it. Simply wish for a closer look."
So Smarty asks him, and he comes back, and you can see his reaction. He takes a step back, and his hands come up. And Smarty says, he adamantly protests, You must not get any closer than this."
Captain, can I use a grenade as a distraction? I just want to look at it. Captain.
Can I try to persuade him, saying that the only way that we're going to be able to locate the other one is if we know more about these things?
We could just drop a smoke grenade, then look at what we want. We wouldn't be hurting any of them.
Sorry, repeat your question.
Yeah.
I was trying to get T Prime back in, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it. So
Man.
I was curious if we could, if I could try to persuade him to allow us to get slightly closer so we could learn more about it, so that we could, or let me rephrase that. In order to find the other one, we need to know more about what we're looking for. And in order to do that, we're going to need to examine this slightly closer. And I'm also kind of using the persuasion, like at Preton, like, hey, I'm trying to find yours, but I need to know more about this thing to help find your mechanical sage, and just kind of pleading with him to allow us to examine it a little closer without touching it.
Sure. So here's what I'll say. I mean, he is
Okay.
a pretty much dead set against it, but you can be very persuasive. So I will give you the opportunity to make the roll, but I will ask for it at a -4.
-4 will do.
Yeah.
I should have a +8.
Captain, my captain.
Okay. So yes. So he says. He says. Okay, but no touch. No
Yes.
touch.
Yeah,
Not like-
no touch.
Run over there.
So basically, the 6 Jalur that are kind of down next to it just kind of close in a little bit and form kind of a tight circle to where you can kind of peek around them, to get a better look.
Okay.
But yes, you managed to get.
There you go, Kadora.
closer.
Captain, you have earned my eternal loyalty.
So Kadora, if you want to assess this thing, go ahead and give me a repair roll. You are unfamiliar with it, so go
I
ahead and
have
give
all
me.
4 of my hands behind my back. I don't want to whatever, but I'm just fascinated by
So
this
so the repair roll. Go ahead and give me the repair roll at a -4.
Boy,
So go ahead.
no problem. This is what Benny's here for.
You can do it, Kadura.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna re-roll that. We're gonna get this. It's very sort of a very interesting mechanic, and I'm not sure.
There you go.
Oh,
So yeah. So
Maybe Rybacks can fix it.
maybe Ratbacks can get like a 13 raise.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So you get the suspicion that that these things are actually deep space probes that were sent from somewhere, maybe some long dead species, thousands of years ago. The metal of this one in particular is significantly pitted. There's a portion of it that's kind of caved in from where it landed. You get the sense that that if you tried to repair it, it's very, very frail, and that you don't feel real good about repairing it. However, you think that it's probably part of a set of probes. So it's similar in some things that you've seen in the past, where if you're trying to get information about a planet, you'll send a series of probes to different regions. So one to the desert area, one to the plains, one to the mountains, one to the forest.
I'm sure it
to
has
try to
shoots out a little canister, and then it breaks out in the atmosphere, and like 14 probes come out, and they up.
Yeah, something like that. So you feel like this is probably something like that, right? But you're not familiar with the technology. That it's very foreign to you. So
I point at it and I say, "Look, Captain! It says collect all 6."
yeah.
Exclamation point.
So you also pick up a couple of things. You think that it may have a weapons array, and that there appears to be some kind of storage compartment that you think you see, like, with this one, based on where the damage is, the door for the storage compartment is slightly open, so you can see the void space inside.
Captain.
You think that the storage compartment.
My hands behind my back, like they're cupping a smoke grenade. All right, that's all I'm saying, Captain.
You estimate the storage compartment to be about 15 square feet.
You can put a lot of stuff in 15 square feet, Captain.
We should get lunch, Captain.
What's that? What's that grapple helper tool that you use to like pick up stuff far away? It's got like a punny name. I should totally have one in my backpack.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make physical contact with the thing. I'm gonna be honest. It's Although I am insatiably curious. It's unfortunately a flaw, but I think I'm gonna hold off.
So Nop approaches you, and he's kind of visibly nervous. he's like straight up nervous Nelly, right? He sees Kadura looking at this thing, basically salivating. He sees you two guys kind of looking around and everything. And so he comes over and he begins talking, and Smarty says, Nop has asked us to back up, please. That is it. That is all he is comfortable with at the time. He says that the other mechanical sage flew to the north, and he recommends that you explore further to the north.
Votora or Farah? I'm just curious what he thinks, like which, because they're both kind of north.
Probably no. Farah's is more east than north. Look at the indicator. Yeah. Vortra's the one further north. I think we should go there first.
That'd be my guess as well.
Plus, didn't they say? Didn't the leader of Kra also say that it was most likely to be Vortra? Or somebody else said that.
Yep.
We should search that next. Or search all of the other ones and then save Vortra in the whatever boss fight. But the last. No.
Okay.
Captain, it's up to you, but it's more likely to be Vortra. So I think we can. This one. So we can ask now. We'll back away and everything, but I want to ask: has it been acting strange lately? The other one was being physically interacted with for a little while. Like they were messing around with it to fix it. Was your mechanical sage acting differently, or being worried, or anything like that?
No, that he. So Smarty says no. He says no. He said it. The story that he heard from Brighton is quite unusual. The mechanical sage has never physically interacted with any Jalur. We have touched it, or they have touched it on several occasions, but it has never physically interacted in return. There is a story of one incident where an especially young Jalur inadvertently fell into the mechanical sage and was given quite a shock. But otherwise, it has not. It has never done anything aggressive towards any of the Jalur species. I can't say. He says he can't say anything specifically about those others in the other towns. However, this one in particular has been very docile.
What does it say to you when you talk to it?
It tells. He says it tells stories. It tells them of distant worlds and space exploration and how to be good companions to each other. It is.
Does it tell you about astronavigation? Just throwing it out there.
No.
To give you any piloting tricks, anything like that? Any deep space math?
It contains a library of information that the Jalur use to further their civilization. It teaches them how to build things and treat each other. A series of platitudes and stories around being a better member of the community.
Okay, so, positive things, Jensen, not like, hey, kill your sister. Noted. I'd love to look at one closer, and the most likely place we're going to be able to do that is by finding the lost mechanical sage.
Okay.
Captain, should we continue north?
I believe so. I believe we've learned everything we can here. Kador, let's.
Do you have a Noop? Do you have a no, brother? Do you have a boat we can use to go up north along the Rasu River to get to Vortra?
He says, he believes that they can furnish you with a vessel capable of navigating the river.
Is this a
Okay, that should
manual
definitely
vessel
save some time.
or an automated?
It's a sailboat.
That's what. Yeah.
So he'll ask you if you're serious that you want to take a boat. But yes, he can take you to. I mean, it's almost like a pair of canoes.
Is boating a separate skill, or is it just driving or piloting?
It would be a separate skill.
Damn, I don't have that skill.
Well, I mean, does a canoe really require that much skill?
No, it does not.
But I like to show off. Is the thing? Look at the high dice that I use for strange situations like this. I think it would be cool to use a canoe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be really awesome. But I will ask, like, what's the fastest way to Vorta? And I point to the river. Like, is that the fastest way?
He says no. He says that there is a trail that will lead you to Vortra and Farah, and that is the fastest way. That the river can be quite dangerous for those who are unfamiliar with navigating it.
Let's do the river. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, Captain.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
We should stick to land, Captain.
Gotta risk it for the biscuit, Captain. I'm not sure what a biscuit is, but my parents used to say that for some reason.
Have you found your brand new species yet?
I think that Jalur was just a brand new species, right?
Okay.
Yep.
They have 6 arms, so I'm pretty interested in them, but also a little bit intimidated. So I'm kind of observing from a distance. But they don't appear to be a threat. It seems like, and that's the most important thing to me. They seem to be, peace-loving idiots. I sort of say that, as peace-loving idiots, Captain, and those are the best kind of idiots.
Yeah, as opposed to
Warlike idiots. Warlike idiots can surprise you, Captain. And warlike geniuses, none of us wants to encounter.
So,
but yeah, I'm fine with the river. I know it's going to be a little harder, but
the river. Okay.
Yes, Captain.
Okay. So basically,
gotta listen to my man,
Yeah, the canoes are going to be 2 by 2. So basically it'll be 2 people in one canoe, 2 people in another canoe. So
I'll be with the captain.
Okay, and then
That's fine. I have 4 arms, and I can use both sets of oars to go faster than you guys.
So he takes you down to kind of a dock area, and shows you to these, and I guess now that you're looking at them, they're less like a traditional canoe, more like a rowboat, more or less. So it's a kind of hollowed out tree, but it squares off at the back. And so it's kind of like I forget what they're called. I don't know, like a
kayak,
like a deck boat. I forget whatever they're called, but it's very shallow draft. It's kind of squared off. So anyway, yeah. So did you want to head up to Vortra? So you're not going to be able to get all the way there. There is a period that you'll have to cross the the jungle to get to Vortra.
I feel very safe in this, Captain.
So is that what you wanted to do?
Yes.
That'll be it.
Okay. So since nobody is proficient in boating, let's go ahead and get 2 unskilled checks. One from Rybax and one from Kadura. So Rybax unsuccessful. But I was going to give you guys a +2 for the helping, because you've got 2 people in the boat. So Rybax was in fact successful. Kadura, why don't you go ahead and give me your unskilled check with a +2. Man,
See, what did I tell you?
crushed it.
Just like both sets of arms just working in like perfect tandem.
Like T Prime's got his legs up,
Like
he's
a
just kind of.
kingfisher.
I could just picture him. He's got like his legs hanging over the side. He's drinking from his canteen of whatever. He's like, "You got this, man. You got this."
Kadura's
All right.
like, of course I have 4 arms, but like he's kind of like regretting at the end. He's just like, maybe I shouldn't like show off with it quite so often because I end up in situations like this. It's pretty tiring because I'm frail.
Okay, so you guys make it to the end of the river, and you wind up at an area where you need to cross. Let me just go ahead and do this. So give me 1 second here. Somebody's gonna have to control T Prime. Well, I will, I guess.
Are we bringing Grade 8 with us? I think we are, right? I'm sorry. Wait, no, I guess
no,
not.
he's
Not great, we should have Smarty, right?
You have Smarty, and you have Prighton.
Yeah.
Okay. And
60.
so you come to an area where there is a series of. So here, I'll share the map with you here. Okay. So.
Hey, where's Kadura?
Smarty looks freaking hilarious.
All right. So let me.
Yeah, this forest has a distinct lack of Yeti.
Yeah, I'll hook you up in a second. Let me just get the image right here. Okay, so that's you guys. Where is Rybax? So Rybax is right here. Okay, so you guys exit your boats, and you come to a kind of a what you would equate to as a rope bridge. And opposite the bridge, you see a series of like creatures, and these creatures are called grazers. You identify them from some of the information that was provided. Smarty mentions that they are indigenous beasts. That they are in fact herbivores. There are a dozen of them, but the dozen of them that are here, of the dozen that are here, 2 appear to be bulls, the other appear to be cows, right? So they have, they've got like a flat lump on their head with a bunch of like tiny holes in it, and that's how they smell. And then their eyes are on the underside of the head, along with a long kind of elephant-like trunk. So, when you approach the bridge, you notice these creatures on the other side, and all but the bulls,
Rush you.
all but the bulls take off. They flee when they see you disembark your boats, and the grazer bulls stand their ground. And they begin to snort and posture aggressively towards you. So I'm gonna. I mean, how do you guys want to try to handle this situation?
How fast is the river?
It's not exceedingly fast at this point. It's more of a stream than than a river. You can see there's a lot of rocks, which is why you had to jettison your boats.
Yeah, but my first thought was, go to them and to try to cross the bridge and then cut the rope, but I don't think they'd get particularly hurt.
No, you'll still need to cross the bridge. I mean, you know, it's not excessively fast, but yeah. So.
Do you got any more of that stew left, Rybax?
No, Captain. I said we should have eaten lunch before we left.
Yeah. I mean, I was hungry. I wasn't going to offer it to the grazers. That was for me.
Oh, you were just
all right.
I will make double next time, Captain.
Never know when we'll get into this situation.
So, what do you guys want to do?
I'm assuming we have some type of rations or whatever. I want to open up a whatever protein bar.
But they're herbivores.
Yeah, they're herbivores.
Protein bar, is that meat?
No, but they were
I don't know either.
They were grazing, and hence the grazer. So they're they've taken up a defensive posture to presumably protect the herd, which has fled behind them.
Right, but we got to cross
the
through
bridge,
them, right? Like with the bridge.
I don't see a reason
Is
we
that my
can't use
understanding,
the
or am I
big
thinking
rock
about
to
it?
the west. Why do we go around?
Yeah, if we can go around, that would be ideal. I mean,
Yeah. There's this...
just so you know, I can't see the map yet. It's still loading.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah. So so there is kind of a sheer rock face over there to the west. So there's like a little landing area, and then there's like a rock face. What you need to be on the upper portion of that, because there's a little shelf there, but it's kind of built into a cutout. In here, I'll show it to the stream here. So there's this rock face here.
I can see it on the stream.
Yeah. So this rock face here is relatively sheer. You'd have to try to climb up it. If you went over this way, you'd have to try to climb up it. Alternatively, though, if you were to be able to get past these grazers, you'd be able to head up there, directly from the top and over to the west, which is the direction you need to go.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if we can go around them, we'll go around them.
And try to climb the cliff face is better than trying to kill them.
I
all.
Yeah, I will say that I'd have my blaster rifle up to just like in case they charge. Basically ready in action while we're moving around. That if they charge, I'm going to shoot.
So Prighton takes out a spear and begins to walk towards the bridge.
Okay. When in Rome.
True.
So he moves up to there, and he readies his spear. So that's what he does, and he yells back, and Smarty says, Smarty says, Prighton advises we capture the creatures. Very good eating.
That's a good idea.
I want to taste the flesh of these creatures.
He recommends that we bring them as an offering to those in Vortra, as he is unfamiliar. Bringing them these two grazers would be quite a gift.
Just the whole corpses, or should we prepare it into some sort of delicious meal for them?
So he asks him back, and he says, the entire creature would be preferred, as their hide can be used for clothing and other things.
How big are these creatures?
They're about elephant size.
Ooh. Oh.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and deal
Wait.
the initiative. So let me.
They want him alive, don't they?
All right, so the Grazer's got a Joker, and so they're gonna hold. Yeah, they're gonna hold their turn. So let me just put them on hold. So Rybax, you're up. What would you like to do?
Captain, you want to attack these beasts?
Yeah, let's capture them or kill them. I look at Prayton real quick and be like, "How do you carry them? They seem huge."
So Smarty asks him, and Prayton responds, and he says, "Once slain, they are quite easy to drag."
Okay.
Let's slay him.
When in Rome, like I said, let's.
What's Rome, Captain?
That's a place they made us learn about in school, but it was silly. Some dude got stabbed, and they thought it was important.
Captain, stay behind me.
I stabbed the captain. Does that feel important, Captain?
It's important.
So I don't have the icon to pass my turn, Mega.
All right, Captain Malik, you're up.
All right. Well, I would take aim. What's the distance?
You should be able to target him. Let me see.
I mean, again, I don't have the map. I can target.
It's 14 inches, so it's 14 inches. So look at your weapon; it should tell you what your range is. It's probably long range or medium range for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
24. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So.
So right now I have one of the Grazers targeted for you, if you wanted to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna essentially take aim and fire.
Okay.
There we go.
Good
All
job.
right, that's a hit.
Nice.
Nice damage, my captain.
He is shaken. So that Grazer is shaken. So T Prime is going to find a spot over here. And he is going to target the shaken Grazer. And he is going to take a shot with his blaster rifle.
Pew, pew.
And that is a hit.
Holy crap.
Nice.
All right, so he completely decimates that one. Basically blows its head off.
You're ruining the meat, Jesus.
T Prime ruining the meat. No.
The eyes are the best part.
So
I do like a Wookiee. I want to hand smack him for ruining.
I like mumble to myself, why would they have evolved eyes that look at the ground?
So this one is going to come off hold now, seeing his friend go down, and he is going to charge down the bridge. Let's see, what is his pace? His pace is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. So that's where he's going to be able to get to. And he's actually, well, no, he's going to do a bull rush, which is one of his things. So he's going to try to do a trample. So he's going to roll his pace to see how much further he can get. He can only get one. so he gets right up in Ryback's face, but he can't make it all the way there.
I regret that.
Let's see. Okay, so that's going to be his turn. So that's it for T Prime. Let's see. Kadura, you're up.
Grenade! No. I'm going to back up a little bit here. Whoops. So I think it was there. I just want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just go there or something like that. And then I will attack with one of my blaster rifles. And a miss. And I'm going to attack with my other blaster rifle. There's a hit. Okay. A little damage.
Yeah,
Unharmed.
unharmed.
Oof. That's a hell of a toughness. Can I re-roll a damage roll?
Yes, you can. In Adventures Edition, and we're trying to roll those rules in for those of you watching at home. So yes, go ahead.
I'll have a couple of them to spare. Let's try that damage one more time. He's got some really good armor. I'm just gonna end. I think I'll end my turn there.
Okay, so Crichton is going to throw his spear. So here we go. Actually, he's going to move up first. He's going to move up to here, and then he's going to throw his spear. Yeah, okay. So he is unsuccessful, and then with his offhand, he's going to use his dagger. One of his offhands, he's going to use his dagger. And that's a hit. And here's the damage. And it is unharmed. So he jabs his dagger in there, and the thing just doesn't even seem affected by it at all. So Smarty is... well, actually, let me ask you, what is Smarty going to do? Who has control of Smarty? I forget.
I think... I don't.
Okay, well, Smarty only has a knife, so I think Smarty is just going to kind of back up here.
Like the defensive stance or whatever.
Yeah, he's going to back up next to you.
Can he help out another attacker?
Yeah, he can. Yeah, no, I mean, he's... If these grazers spoke, he could be helpful, kind of like C-3PO is helpful, but this grazer doesn't have a language, so he can't really help there. So he's going to go ahead and pass, and T Prime's up. So T Prime's going to target this grazer, and he is going to use his. He's going to take a -2 because he's going to put away his rifle, and he's going to pull out his SMG. And he's going to fire his SMG. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, what do we get? So we get hit, miss, miss. Okay, so one hit. It's going to... Oh, sorry.
Hey.
There we go. All right, so he is shaken. So he shakes that grazer. So there he is. He's shaken.
Shaken, baby.
And that's going to be his turn. So, Rybax, you're up.
I yelled to Rybax, I'll take you up on that bet. If you want to hang on, I'll run over, and we'll see if we can do this. Be there just in case something awful happens.
I am going...
Move into position and help me, and give me a boost.
Well, this bull is charging me, so I
it's
react
shaken.
instinctively.
It's shaken, though. Doesn't that mean we can mess around with it?
I think I'm gonna try to hit it first.
Okay.
I missed. If you could pass
Ain't
me.
better. And you can use one of my bennies.
I think I'm gonna hold one turn before we go down
Okay.
that road. If you'd pass it to Kadura, Mega.
I can do that. Kadura, you are up.
All right. Rybax gave me a pet that I do want to try to take. I want to try to see if I can ride this thing. It is shaken. It is 9 feet away from me. So would I have to run over there, or how would this work? I want to see if I can grab onto it and hold on for dear life when it gets back up.
It's not down. It's just shaken, right? So it's not down.
Is there so that wouldn't help me, like if I was to try to? I can throw a stun grenade and then hop up.
Or grapple. Is there some form of grapple?
Could be.
Yeah. So it would be a contested athletics check.
Okay. I have athletics. That's one of the free ones that we get. Okay. My pace is only 6, so I'm not sure if I can get over there. 4, 5,
Yeah,
6.
4 arms, but I don't know if you can grapple an elephant, Kadora.
I can try, but not from here.
You can't.
Well, he's gonna have to try to mount its back first. I would imagine.
I'm just not sure if I can use my pace to run up to it and use athletics to jump on it at the same time. Or maybe at a -2, I guess.
Yeah. So you could try with a -2.
Okay. I'm gonna sprint over. That's ooh. Oh, okay. That's the total. Okay. So I'll go over. I'll say I'll go over
So you
here.
can definitely make it to it. Just go behind it for now.
Okay.
There you go. And then go ahead and make your athletics check with your -2. All right, so that's a 9. So here's his opposed strength check.
Oh no.
He fails it. So you've climbed on top of this. You've climbed on top of this creature.
Okay. Is there hair or something like that for me to like hold on to? Like what's the deal here? Because its body parts are like on weird parts of it. You know, you got a trunk coming from between its eyes, which are on the bottom of its face. Like what do I have to hold on to when I'm on the back of its neck or whatever?
So it now that you're like right up next to it, it's almost got this almost like a triceratops kind of like bony structure that comes up behind its head, and so you can grab onto the sides of that, and that's basically what you're holding on to.
Okay. And I'll yell out, you know, if I survive this, I'm definitely getting those 10 credits.
You do it, Kadura.
All right. So Smarty's not going to do anything. Captain Malik, you're up.
Well, I could try shooting it.
Don't shoot me, Captain. Don't shoot me. This is very important.
But I don't want to shoot Kadora. I think I'll hold my turn. Who's left to go? Just Prighton and the Grazer. Grade 8. Man. Kadora!
Come on up, Captain. Come on.
Oh, how many of us can fit on it?
What's your athletics, Captain? Persuade it to tame it. You're the captain.
1, 2,
You're the
3,
alpha
4,
male.
5, 6. If I do a pace, do I get a negative on my roll for athletics?
You would,
-2.
yes. Yeah, you'd get a -2 because you're adding an additional action.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
gonna
your
run
pace
behind,
your pace would also be reduced by 2. So like if you did a run, whatever your run die is would also be reduced by 2. But if you're just moving your pace, then that's fine.
Oh, I see.
So if you just moved 6,
I'm just
then,
gonna
then you're totally fine.
I was gonna see if I could make it all the way, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I'll run up and that's it. That'll be my turn.
Go ahead and roll your pace die if you want to try to get behind it.
Oh, no, I'm fine right here for now.
Okay.
Behind Rybacks.
Okay. So
Always behind Rybacks.
Get behind me, Captain.
So Prighton is going to attack with his dagger again. He's going to make 2 dagger attacks. So here's number 1. That's a hit.
Oh my god.
And
oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh my god.
He takes it out. So I will need an athletics check from Kadura, please.
That's fine.
Um,
Hang on. I gotta re-roll that.
Okay. So you manage to kind of guide yourself down as this, kind of large beast hits the ground. And so you manage to slay both of these creatures, and Prighton raises his arms and lets out a howl, as his damage takes, or his daggers just kind of take this creature out, and he walks over, and he kind of gets behind it and he takes it by the back legs, and he like almost effortlessly drags the thing a few inches, and he looks up at you and he raises 4 of his arms, right, like this, and almost like he's making muscles, right, and so now you have 2 of these creatures down, and a relatively clear path to your destination.
I do the howling thing as well. That like one pair of hands like that, and then the next pair of hands like a little bit more outer, like a expanding cone. So like, lots of fun.
Okay. All right. Cool. So cool. Yeah, you guys managed to take those out, and
I tap the Yeti on the shoulder.
All right.
Yes.
So after you guys kind of get across the bridge, and I'm just going to go ahead and move you guys up here real quick, just for expedience. But once you guys get across the bridge, you realize that this creature's its outer skin is very tough, but its bones are almost like bird bones, to where they're very, very thin. They're very, like, not necessarily thin, but they're like it's almost like cartilage, but it's got this like rigid structure, but inside it's very it's very soft. And so so even though these creatures are very large, you don't feel like you're going to have much difficulty at all dragging them back to Vortra. So I'll need 2 volunteers to drag them back, but Prighton will take 1. I presume Rybacks would be the other. So why don't you just go ahead and give me a strength athletics check, please?
Athletics or strength?
Whichever you prefer. Strength or athletics.
My strength is higher.
Okay. Yeah, you can drag this thing, no problem. As a matter of fact, you can kind of pick a portion of it up and throw it over your shoulders. So you basically take the rear legs, you throw them over your shoulders, and the thing, you're wearing it like a cape.
Okay.
So you guys carry on and you arrive at the village of Vortra. So the village is up on a large open hilltop, at the edge of the mountains. As you look, you see a series of short, concentric ringed buildings centered on the top of the hill. and you make your way closer, and you see you see kind of a pair of wooden gates, again with these kind of portcullis looking cutouts with with a couple of Jalur standing in there as guards, basking in what remains of the day's sun. So what do you want to do? You're still far enough away to where they haven't noticed you, but you're close enough to make out kind of key features of Vortra.
Captain, smoke grenade.
These are supposed to be the allies?
Yes, I'm just
Yeah, so this is the village of Vortra.
Actually, we didn't ask.
I basically tap Preton on the shoulder and point up there.
Are these
kind of so that he could do the same thing as before? Is kind of go up there, introduce, and then we approach. This time I'm not going to give him as long to if he doesn't come back, because this one we don't know much about. Like, they're not as friendly, is my understanding.
So he is happy to go, and he'll take one of the grazers with him. And so he approaches with this grazer. He's kind of dragging it, and you guys are kind of in the woods a little bit. Did you want to be hiding or just kind of standing on the trail?
No, not at all.
Let's be out posing, not posing, but next to the corpse.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So he walks up, and he lays the grazer down in front of the wooden doors, and he's having a back and forth conversation with the two Jalul that are standing there, and then one of his hands kind of goes like this, right, and points back over his shoulder, and you see one of them hop down, opens the door, and as the doors open, you see probably about 8 of them, I guess, come out, and they collect the carcass of the grazer and bring it inside. And then he looks to you, and he motions again with the two hands that you should come up.
All right. Then Rybax will drag the other grazer while we follow.
Yes.
Up to him.
Just point the way, Captain.
Okay, so as you guys get to the top of the hill, and kind of enter the wooden doors, another group of probably about 8 or so Jalur come and they approach you, Rybax, and they kind of stand there, with 2 of their 6 hands up, and then another 2, they're pointing at the carcass of the grazer. And so, what would you do?
I will kind of rotate the carcass, forward and hand it to them.
Okay, so they cautiously approach, collect it, and carry it in, and then you see. So these Jalur look pretty different than the ones from either Ranya or Kra. They're kind of painted, so they've got different color kind of stripes around their eye stalks, like circles, right? They're some of them have black ones or red ones or yellow ones or whatever. And then their chest, there are a series of kind of alternating lines and patterns across their chest. It's painted in some some design that you don't recognize. So they come and take the carcass, and then after the carcass is taken away, a group of 4 approach. 3 of them are, are kind of flanking the fourth, which is dressed in like what looks to be the hide of one of these creatures, kind of in a cape that hangs down his back. And the way it's been skinned is that the whole back of it runs down, and then the two kind of front or back legs, you're unsure, kind of drag behind it. So it's got this kind of cape that comes down, and then there are these two little like pieces that drag behind him. And he begins to approach. And at that point, you see Prighton kind of he kind of bends at the waist, right? And kind of turns his eye stalks to the side, almost kind of diverting his eyes from this guy. And then he approaches and he begins to speak, and he and Prighton have a back and forth conversation. And Smarty says, Captain, his name is Growl, Graol. He appears to be the leader of this village. He is asking Prighton why he has brought the outsiders to Fortra. And Prighton has informed him that we are seeking the mechanical sage from Kruh. He does not seem very entertained with the story thus far. So basically you see Prighton is being kind of as kind of accommodating and courteous as possible, but you see him kind of begin to step back and join the rest of the group, whereas previously every time he's had conversations with the Jalur, he's been kind of out in front. Now he's kind of a little bit he's a little bit taken back, so he kind of fades back, and now he's much closer to you than he is to them. So what do you guys want to do?
Captain, I think you should probably take the lead here, since you're the most convincing,
most polished talker.
Yes. My
Sorry,
diplomacy
I was actually
defaults
talking
toward smoke grenade after a pretty short amount of time.
Yep. I asked Prighton if they seen the mechanical sage at all. Like, did he get that out of Growl?
So Smarty says he says that they have one here, but they have a sage of their own that they call the God Spire.
Okay. But they haven't seen the other one.
And he kind of points, and at this point, I mean, you've been kind of occupied with all this happening. He motions up and to the right, and you see this like tall wood structure, and then on top of it is the mechanical sage, not a mechanical sage.
And it looks the same.
Yeah.
Does it look the same as the one?
It looks.
Okay.
Yes, it looks the same as both of the ones that you've seen before. However, this one has been placed on a 20-foot tall structure.
Okay.
And so it kind of towers over the buildings, but it looks almost as if the buildings were kind of built around it. It's clearly the feature of this village.
Well, I would like to step up and introduce myself, just to see if I have any luck.
Talking through Smarty?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you want to say?
I I would like to basically say, we mean no harm. We're looking for two, as you put them, outsiders or off outlanders. I can't remember. We're basically hunting our coworkers, our friends, and we would like any assistance that they could provide. And a mechanical sage has taken them.
So, Smarty relays that message to him, and then he responds back. He says, no other worlders may approach the spire. I saw your sage heading to the northeast, but I do not know where it went. Nearby, there is the wreckage of a vessel, a boat. He refers to it as that crashed many years ago. Perhaps there you can find some additional information.
Thank you for your help. Please enjoy the grazers.
Yes, your gift is very well appreciated. I apologize for my abrupt nature. We do not often interact with other tribes. Most of the time it's Molil who come here to steal from us. So when your guide, Triton, approached, we were cautious, but your offering has brought us some joy.
Did Triton tell you about what happened in the battle? Maybe there's a Beast Riders Club or something like that, man. Who knows? Who knows?
He did not mention...
as you can see, we're not takers, we're givers.
Yes.
Yes. Which is why you've been given entry thus far, and the information I've provided. Had you taken a different tact, you may have found us to be less hospitable.
All right. Well, maybe we can build on this, Come over sometime. Yeah. All right. So that's fine. Again, thank you for the information. What would be the fastest way to approach the ship that you spoke of, if indeed our metal sage has went there?
It is about, he explains it distance-wise, roughly translated, it's about 5 miles to the southeast. So for those of you looking at the map, you'll see where Farah is. There's a dot kind of there in the middle of the woods near the Farron Forest. There's a little dot there that trail is. That dot is where the crash site is.
Oh, so it's back near Farah.
It is north of Farah, yes.
Okay.
Right. And just maybe I'm crazy or not, but we're in Vortra right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So since we're in Vortra and you're saying that spot near Farah is the crash site, are we going to be passing Farah on our way to the crash site?
So everybody give me a notice roll.
Okay.
I do not notice things.
Neither do I.
I'm fine burning a mini on this.
Well, you got a 4.
Yeah.
We're good.
I didn't get a 4.
I'm
Never mind.
playing a little game on my handheld computer. I'm playing
Space Invaders.
Scientists and spaceships. It's the
Okay,
Scientists
so
and Spaceships version 18.
sure. So Captain Malik, Smarty, and T Prime all notice what looks like a smoke trail coming out of one of the clouds, heading to the northeast from here, and not at a very significant altitude, as if it was fairly recent that it hasn't dissipated. But you notice this smoke trail heading to the northeast, which is very similar to the one that you saw when the mechanical sage lifted off from Kruh.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to be looking at it to see if we can see the mechanical sage traveling somewhere. And I pointed out to the others as well, like, "Hey, look!" And I point up.
What?
So Kadura, give me a repair roll.
Okay.
So you would say that, given the amount that it's dissipated in the atmosphere, that trail is less than an hour old.
Wow. Okay. It's fresh tracks, Captain.
Can we determine its vector?
Yeah. Piloting. Give me a piloting roll.
E?
What
All right.
type? Just,
I'll reroll that. Unless you have piloting, Captain. You may as well try. All right. Let the professionals try one more time here.
You don't have a lot of minis. I have plenty. I can.
All right. So
I'm very self-sufficient, Captain. I have 2 left.
So you'd say it was going, like, if you were looking at a compass, you would say it'd be going 20 degrees, 20 degrees northeast. So kind of in the Trassar direction based on the map you have. Betty and the Jets. Yeah.
Well done.
So you would think it's headed in the northeast direction towards Tressor.
All right. Let the captain know.
So Smarty comes back and says, Grawl would like to know what you are discussing. He does not speak the otherworld language.
We think that we know where the mechanical sage went. The trail seems to go that way. And since that's what we're trying to find, we may head that direction. But it's up to the captain.
Yep. Yeah, we.
So he shares that information, and Grawl responds back to him, and Smarty comes back and says, "Captain, it appears that these Vortra Jolur observed that phenomenon. However, their mechanical sage informed them that it was an anomaly and not to be concerned."
Noted. I still want to check it out.
Yeah. Anomalies can definitely be
I
interesting.
don't trust these mechanical sages.
Don't say that so loud, Captain. It's kind of their god.
No. That's my internal voice.
Okay.
All right. We're just
I might say it in an external voice.
sorry about that. So we're just about an hour from our wrap up here. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break? Everybody can go ahead and use the restroom, and we will be right back. Yeah, no. All right, guys. Hey, we're gonna be coming back here in a minute, but I just wanted to take a quick moment to address our viewers and let you guys know that we really appreciate you guys joining us. It means the world to us, and I know the crew really loves interacting with you guys. So so feel free to hit up that chat. People are watching. People are chatting. And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit that follow button. It's free, no cost. If you feel like doing that, that'd be great. Just another quick reminder: if you missed one of our episodes, there's a couple ways you can get caught up. So way number one is there's a button up there called that says videos. You can go ahead and hit that and see our previous videos. Otherwise, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a link to our YouTube channel. There you'll see other episodes of the Gamma Quadrant, as well as some of our other special events that we've had. So we run Savage Worlds, D&D, and some other systems. So please do check us out. The crew should be ready to join here in just 1 second. So let me go ahead and check on them, and we'll all be right back. All right, and we are back. Welcome back, crew. I hope everybody is refreshed. Grabbed a beverage of their choice, maybe a snack. There we go. All right. And so let's get into it. So you guys. So let me just take us back to the scene here. So you guys are. You guys are in Vortra, and you just observed what looks like a vapor trail from something headed to the northeast. About 20 degrees north. And so did you want to ask him anything about what's there, or what is in that direction?
I would ask that since he's apparently communicating with the mechanical sage, if he could locate our mechanical sage. If he could ask his sage where the Craw sage is currently at. Obviously through Smarty.
So he says that he personally does not talk to the sage. Only their shaman are allowed to talk to the sage directly. That he must filter his questions through the shaman.
Oh, I thought you were in charge. My bad.
He is in charge, but Smarty explains that their hierarchy is such that only very specific Joller are allowed to to speak to it. Like they're raised into it. It's like a caste system.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I'll,
but he can
anything
ask
about,
one of
Trisol?
them to ask it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he could, that'd be great.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
Okay. Any negative modifiers or whatnot?
No.
Nice.
Not like it mattered. Yeah, it's a persuasion roll at a negative 16. Still succeeded. Yep. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, so he calls over one of the others that are standing there, and you see them have a back and forth, and then the other guy takes off. And you see him kind of run through, the town towards this spire. And after about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, the runner comes back, right? And they have a back and forth dialogue, and the runner kind of bows his way out, right? And then he turns to you and he says, the spire says that the Kra sage is in Trasser.
The cross sage is in where?
Trasser.
Trossar? Okay, then that's where we thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where we just saw the smoke plume heading toward. So what could you tell us about Trossar? And we'll be on our way.
Well, hang on, because we thought something similar might happen because we saw the smoke in the sky, but another mechanical sage assured us that it was only an anomaly. So, which is true, I wonder.
That's all he says. He says that the spire says that that the cross sage is in Trasser.
I mean, he told them not to worry about it, that it's an anomaly, but it doesn't
Yes.
mean that it still wasn't our sage going to Trasor, but just the people of Vortros shouldn't be worried about it, theoretically.
So he also mentions to you that Trasser is where the so there's a small crash site which is in by the Ferren Forest, but that Trasser is a large a larger ship, a larger boat. So it's not a village. It's the
mothership.
It's a boat. Yeah, he refers to it as a boat. He doesn't know.
Yeah. Yep, I get that. All right. Well, I'm sure, Kadora, your curiosity has to be tingling about a bigger boat.
So basically, just to recap, right? You've learned of a small crash site about about a 2-hour hike to the east over by Farah, and you've learned of a larger boat located at Trasser, which is what they refer to it as.
Now, that smaller crash site, that happened years ago, right?
They both did.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't know if they happened at the same time, but they were discovered at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay. So do you want to check out the smaller one first before heading to the big boat? Or just go straight to the big boat? If we go to the smaller one, we should probably step into Farah. But I'm fine either way. It seems like our sage is in Trasar, so the more direct route would be big boat.
We were fine in a little boat.
So Prighton chimes in at this point, and Smarty relays the message. He says, Captain, Prighton mentions that the Trasser area is in the mountains and is quite cold. He recommends cold weather gear, and he says that he would be unable to go because the Jalur are quite sensitive to cold weather.
I actually think I am too. I think so.
Rybax loves the cold weather.
I have a penalty to fatigue checks made to resist, well, only poison and disease.
He recommends
Okay,
that
so yeah,
you
no, I'm
either
okay.
get cold weather gear or try to get closer by ship rather than by land. Otherwise, it will be a quite difficult trip.
Okay.
I whispered to the captain, Captain, we could skin the Yeti.
Ha
Throw it out
ha
there.
ha, Kadura. Ha ha.
Your hearing isn't that good, is it?
It's excellent.
Crap.
Your jokes are always the best, Kadora.
Yes, jokes. Yeah.
All right. So
More bovine
again,
stew for you, Kadura. Make you take cold easier.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I prefer to keep my chest shaven smooth. Thank you.
So, based on where your ship is, I mean, you'd have to kind of go back to your boats or take the trail from Vortra back to Ranya, where your ship is. But you think it'd be about an hour's flight from Ranya to Trussar. Well, maybe a little bit longer, maybe closer to 2 hours from Ranya to Trussar. And then perhaps there'd be an area over there where it'd be suitable to land. But Triton is very apprehensive, if not flat defiant, about trying to go there on foot. That no Jalur has made the trip and returned unscathed. Several have lost limbs in the process because of the frostbite.
If you want, we can just scathe you now, get it out of the way. Then you won't have to worry about it.
He definitely disagrees with that. So what do you guys want to do? You want to make the trip back to Ranya to get your ship, or do you want to try to brave it on foot?
We can't summon it through Mother or Grandmother.
You could, yeah. But I would need a couple of piloting rolls to see if you could find a suitable landing location near Vortra, because it is very wooded.
Let me see if I can find something for us, Captain.
Okay.
We can make this a little bit easier.
Okay.
Hang on. We're in a field right here, Captain.
Okay. So now go ahead and give me another one at -2 to navigate the tree canopy and land successfully in the area that you found.
Oh, this will be fun. Oof. Captain, little help.
I can toss you one too.
Oh, really? What?
We
What the fuck is
lost. There you go. All right. So JT, we lost your voice, but that's okay. So
got it. Okay.
yeah, there
Sorry.
we go. That's all right.
It wouldn't have been.
So yeah,
effective
all right.
anyway.
So it's a little hairy, right? And some brush gets kind of sucked into the engine, and gets spit out the back. But ultimately, you manage to find a suitable landing spot. So from here, it's about an hour's trip to the Trussar, based on what you detected from the flight pattern and what you've been told.
All right.
Okay, women and children first.
Okay,
Wait.
so you guys want to try to head to Trussar?
Yes.
Okay, so as everybody loads in, I assume you're getting kind of cold weather gear situated, but about halfway through the trip, about 30 minutes, the weather turns really bad. So hang on, let me do this. Okay, so the wind picks up, and the snow begins to gust, and severe wind batters the ship. Let's see. So as you approach the mountains, they're clouded over, and visibility is extremely poor. And you see, as you're approaching, you see what looks like another one of those kind of vapor trails. And it kind of dives into the cloud cover at a relatively sharp angle. And you can choose a couple of different things here. So you can either choose to try to fly high over the weather, or try to drop down and kind of navigate the mountainside. Alternatively, you can try sensors to try to get a better sense of where you are, what the landmass looks like. But if you imagine you're flying over, the wind is very strong. It's kind of pushing the ship back and forth. You see this like cloud covered mountainscape beneath you. Okay. And it's very difficult to make any landmass aside from the peaks that that pop out from under the cloud cover. So what would you guys like to do?
I look at Ghidorah and be like, what are your skills as far as this? And I'll look at T-Prime and say, get on the scanners.
I'm pressing buttons faster than you normally see me do. I'm like, I can do it, Captain. She
Let's do it.
handles like a deer in the sky, which presents problems, but I'm really good.
Okay, so what did you want? Did you want to try to? All right. So the sensor data comes back. T Prime replies. He says, "I think I've got a pretty good map of the terrain, Captain. There's a little bit of interference. There seems to be some electromagnetic radiation coming from these mountains. I'm picking up some crystalline structures that are absorbing our sensor signals. But overall, I think there's enough of a surface layer to make out to where we could navigate against that."
Let me know if you want me to shoot the crystals.
So he says the choice is yours. We can duck down, navigate by sensors, or we can try to get a little bit closer and then descend into the clouds when we think we're over top of it.
I would say let's get closer, so we don't have to, fly in that just by sensor too long.
Well, if we stay low, we might be a little bit stealthier, too. There's that advantage. As stealthy as one can be in this ship. Or we can just fly into space and go to the gambling planet.
The what planet?
The gambling planet.
Yeah.
Oh, the gambling planet.
In the Vegas system.
In the Vegas.
That's right, Artu. We're going to the Vegas system.
The Vegas bus system. So here, let me lay out your options again. You can either wait out the storm a little bit, which will add several hours to your time frame. You can descend below the cloud layer, and try to navigate where you'd have visibility, right? Because right now you're, obviously you're high enough to where you're clearing the mountains, but you can't see what's below you. And so if you were to wait it out, obviously the visibility might be a little bit better. The winds would be a little bit reduced, so that the overall challenge would be lessened. But obviously the trade-off is time.
if we waited around, would that give time for grade 8 to become charged enough where we can use him?
Potentially. I mean, he's been on the charge for several hours now. He's charged enough to interact with, but but he's not much of a tucker. He's more of an R2 style unit, right? To where he's basically a repair droid. So if you remember when you encountered those repair droids at the mining colony, they not much of tuckers. they're basically there for a job. So you think that Smarty can talk to him, but the rest of you wouldn't necessarily be able to talk to him so much. But yeah, I mean, he's functional enough. I mean, I'll say he's got a half charge at this point to where he could join you.
Okay.
But he's going to be limited in his capability.
Well.
Okay.
All right. So I say we we wasted time going up the river. As fun as that was, truly enjoyable. We did waste a little bit of time there, so I say we just get closer through the nasty storm and then descend right on top of it, so the fastest means possible.
Okay.
Yeah, did that come in just regular chat, even though it still says like W/G on there?
Yep,
Okay.
it did.
All right. I got about 5 more minutes.
That's fine. That's fine. So you guys want to try to descend and navigate? Is that what I heard?
The fastest way possible.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
The
All right.
least time spent.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So I will need. So we're going to run this as a dramatic task. Okay. So basically, what that means for folks that aren't accustomed to Savage Worlds is you need to get 3 successes out of a total of 5 rolls. Okay. So basically, I'm going to need piloting rolls. Okay. I'm going to need you can Benny these rolls. Okay. A success counts as 1. A success with a raise counts as 2. But you can't go beyond 2 in a given roll. Okay. So it's basically a best 3 out of 5 with one little caveat is that it's a little challenging. It's windy, it's snowy, it's cloudy. So all of the piloting rolls are going to be made at a -2. So really the fate of the crew is in Kadura's hands. Can he save them or crash them into a mountainside?
You can do it, Kadura.
It's like a deer in the sky.
Oh, I have every confidence.
What I'm going to say is I'm going to mitigate that -2 a little bit because T Prime is going to be Johnny on the spot with the sensors.
Nice.
Okay, so instead of being a -2, it's going to be -1, and we'll need a best 3 out of 5 takes it. So go ahead and start with your rolls.
All right. I know the captain's kind of proficient in piloting. Is there any way he could lend a co-piloting hand to it? Is there anything else that can be done?
So, sorry.
Even though secretly, I think he only got his piloting license because he was so good looking. He must have had a female trainer, and they just sort of gave it to him. Did you ever watch that episode of 30 Rock where she starts dating a guy who's in what she calls the bubble, and everybody treats him really, really well because he's really good looking, and he's like a doctor, but he's a terrible doctor, and he only graduated because he's so good looking. It's the same situation here. I'm just suspicious. But
yeah.
If you want to help, Captain, now's the time.
Oh no, you got it. I trust you now. It's
Okay then.
I think you just retconned some of my backstory, so.
No, these are just what I'm pretty sure happened. You know, it might not have been that way. You may have some actual talent, but from what I can see, you know.
Jealousy, kind of.
Yeah,
Maybe a little
we'll
bit.
get the rudder. We should angle it this way as we go in.
Good. Well, let me try this piloting and roll on the -1 then. Hey, look at that, a success.
Don't kill us, Quadrant.
That's one
So
success.
far, so good, Captain.
Yep.
That was close, though. I saw that.
The wind's buffering, but she's got a really good, she's got very good handling, Captain. I'm not sure if I could do this in the old ship, but I'm okay so far. Roll 2. Oof.
That is a failure.
My pots are flying all over the galley.
Thank you, Captain.
This is how I help.
There you go. That's even better, Captain. Ooh, Captain. I'm going to need another one.
All right. Well, that's 1 for 1. Well, let's just see what your third roll gets us.
Okay. That's true. That's true. We have more failures.
Yeah.
I need. Come on. Oh man, I need a 6 here.
All right. Here's another.
All right, thanks. I need a 6 here, gang.
This is getting shaky.
It is getting a little bit shaky, and with my second pair of hands, I'm like desperately like going over some numbers, trying to keep some stability. Ah, it's really. Ah! It's like the whole ship is like shaking.
Upside down.
So we're at 2 failures now, right? So pretty much every time I have.
Well, which ones were not bennied? So we got. So the first one was a success.
3 was not bennied.
Okay, so we have 1 success and 1 failure, and then we have.
Right.
So right now we're at 1 success with 2 failures. Now you can either
right.
benny that, or you continue on with 1 success and 2 failures, and you got to get the rest.
You know, I think you're gonna have 2 successes back to back here, Kadora.
I'll just get a raise, Captain.
Oh yeah, just get a raise. That'll be easy. All right, here's another Benny.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
getting low now.
I appreciate
I've got some too.
piloting. Okay, -1. All right, there's
2 successes, 2 failures. This is it. It all comes down to this.
Well, I mean, unless we bet it.
I got bennies.
I got bennies too. I might, if you want to use one right back, if you can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
Let's see.
I don't believe Rybacks can give you a benny.
Oh, is that not the case?
That is not the case.
Well, let me use one on let me use mine, Captain, because you can give me yours and Ryback's yours, but you can't give me. You know. Let me just use a benny here to reroll that. There we go.
I have an edge. I don't know if it was
Reroll.
command or natural leader that allows it.
Yeah, you can do it though. Yeah. Whew. Oh boy, guys, what? I'm sorry. So that's not a. Didn't mean to hit +11. I meant to hit -1. I'm not trying
You
to
can do it, Quadrant.
on you. I gotta use my last penny.
You doing loop-de-loops for fun? What's
Yes.
going on here?
Totally. Suddenly, I'm like in the zone for like 5 seconds, and then I completely lose control again. So that's all of my bennies. So I just better get this one.
So you didn't need to use a benny for the +11 one, by the way. So you just used 2 bennies back to back, and you didn't have to. So the +11 one, take that. Just disregard that roll altogether, because I'm a kind and benevolent game master.
You very much are.
We're going down!
We may actually be going down. I'll use one. This will be then my last penny.
I can't wait to talk to Daystar tomorrow and say, yeah, we all died.
But with one of my hands, I'm like surreptitiously like taking out my cell phone and like not calling my mom. But like I'm in a lot of trouble here, Mom, and I just wanted to say that I love you. All right.
All right, that was a notice roll.
Jesus.
So you noticed that you're about to die.
Notice that I'm about to die.
You're very observant.
Do this piloting roll. Am I going to make this?
We all see that, Kadora.
I promise. Fuck. Captain.
Okay, all right. So Okay, okay, Captain Malik gives a Benny.
I have one more.
Yes! Finally! Yes!
All right.
The whole thing's like coming apart. This is like the worst of the Star Trek episodes. Where,
And
like,
you got a
everything
raise.
falls
It's
apart.
like it was easy.
I'm just
All
like,
right.
oh, what if I flip this switch from uncontrolled to controlled?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that last second as you're fixing to hit the ground, it pops up.
I'm the greatest pilot ever, Captain.
Yep. I need to step away. If you want to recall, I can do this on my phone. But I'm going to have to step away.
Sure. So, okay.
I noticed we didn't die, Kaduna.
That is sad, like, I basically
Alright.
pissed myself at this point. I'm like super sweaty. Just,
So,
like, completely
so I
exhausted.
guess, yeah. So talk about that. I mean, what's going through your mind? I mean, things are going all over the place. You can't, you can't seem to get,
Even with 4 hands, I can't respond to all the alarms going off at once. The atmosphere buffeting the entire ship. Whenever I did it in the simulations, you feel the turbulence and everything like that, but it's kind of like a dual shock controller showing off the recoil of a shotgun and then like expecting that to be the same as having an actual shotgun and firing it. It's not exactly like the simulations. I probably got thrown across the room once or twice. I had to like pick myself up and like stagger back. But eventually sort of I got to a point where I could sort of use the sort of pilot by feel a little bit, feel how the wind is buffeting it, but be able to like move into it and kind of ride it instead of fighting it, and was able to sort of barely regain control that way and touch it down, or get through the storm, or touch it down.
Yeah, so you're not necessarily touching down. So you're navigating through the mountains, and you clear the mountainous area, and T Prime comes back and says, "Captain, I'm picking something up on the scanners." He says, "I've got a circular disc about 275 feet across, 2 stories tall, and about 2/3 of it is buried in the snow and ice. It's pitched at an angle.
That sounds like our big boat.
Yes, it looks that way, Captain. There appears to be a snow-covered ledge just above it, where we may be able to set down the Luna Sea."
Make it so.
Like it so.
All right, so here we are, precarious landing. It's on a ledge just above. So go ahead and give me another piloting roll. This one I will not penalize you for. However, if you fail egregiously, then there will be consequences.
Yeah, right? Alright, I got my confidence back here, gang. We're good.
Yeah. So you managed to kind of carefully negotiate and set the Luna Sea down on
if
this
I roll
ledge.
high, it's because I'm going to make it into an extra smooth landing. I'm not going to like try tricks and loop-de-loops and things like that. I'm still like taking deep breaths to calm myself down a little bit. But unlike everything's expected, it feels like I'm past the worst part of the storm. And
Okay. So you guys set down, and you see that at the very top of this thing there appears to be a large hatch that faces the ledge towards you guys. So if you imagine, like, your typical flying saucer, right, about 275 feet across, 2 stories tall, kind of 2/3 dug into a snowbank. Okay, at the rear, which is exposed, there's a hatch that that you can see visible from the top. At this point, temperature wise, it is it's about 0. With the wind chill, it's probably about a -25.
Very comfortable.
So you will most definitely need warm clothing.
Yeah, let's tell them that warm clothing.
Yeah. So you guys, okay, so you guys kind of gear up for the weather and head out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys go to the to the cargo bay, which is where you'll exit. Basically, the way the Lunacy is positioned, the cargo bay is at the rear, which would be the most direct route. You're going to need some rope or something to kind of climb down, from this ledge that you were on down to the surface of this vessel. And so, who's going to take that and operate the rope?
I can carry the rope. Ryback's can carry rope.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay. As the cargo bay doors open up, the wind is blowing and the snow. There's basically snow everywhere. I need everybody to make a survival roll, please.
Do I need to do one? Because I have cold weather.
You get a +2. You get a +2 on your survival roll.
Okay. All right. So.
I don't have that.
I have an environmental
You're gonna have to make my rolls for me.
Cold.
I got you.
I have it says here I have a +4 to cold-based effects.
So a plus what?
4
Okay, then you get a +4.
from the Yeti. All right, so that's a survival, and I'll just see 4 + 4, and here comes.
Okay, Captain Malik. Oh man. Yeah.
I told you I love the cold.
Yeah, he walks out there like, cold. This isn't cold.
Making snow angels.
He's taking his jacket off. He's like, what is this? Seriously?
It's home.
Yeah, this isn't cold. I've had colder summers.
What did you say I rolled?
Well, no, so you're fine. So Malik,
Okay.
you're fine. But Ryback's got a 27. All right, so yeah, so he's totally fine. So and then
Did he start shedding?
yeah, no, I'm saying like he gets exactly. He starts losing fur. He's like, man, I'm hot. Yeah. Kadura, you are going to have fatigue. So you're going to have 1 level of fatigue dealing with the cold.
Okay. That's good. What does that do?
So it's going to give you negatives to some of your rolls.
Okay. Can't soak fatigue. I don't have any pennies, so that's not a good thing at all. I don't have any pennies.
Yeah. No, you're in a tough spot.
Okay, well.
So you make your way to the hatch. Alright. So you're standing at the hatch. Once you're standing at it, all of you kind of lower yourselves onto the hatch area. The hatch opens on its own. Right, and it just kind of holds open for you guys.
Cool.
Stay behind me, Captain. My Captain.
I am behind you. Why do you keep saying that?
So did
Just
you guys
making
want to?
sure.
Did you guys want to enter the airlock?
Yes.
This definitely seems way more high tech than the locals here, so be on guard.
Yep, I'm ready. Shield and sword out.
All right, so you guys enter into the airlock, all of you.
Yep.
All right, the airlock closes behind you. The hatch and airlock are big enough for the probes to fly through. Once inside, you pass through a 20-foot long hall and enter a large chamber that seems to take up most of the ship's interior. JT, would you mind muting real quick? I'm getting a lot of background.
Sorry.
It's all right. A long hall and enter a large chamber that seems to take up most of the ship's interior. It's very wide, about 15 feet high at the edges, and the ceiling slopes up where the floor slopes down. It's dimly lit, but it doesn't appear to have a proper floor. Much of the upper half is filled with empty suspended racks, one of which holds the probe from Kra, the mechanical sage. Below you appear to be rows of large containers and many large glowing cylinders. In the center is a raised platform 15 feet across that's almost equal to your level. It is surrounded by 8 additional platforms cantilevered on massive braces at various heights. Some platforms are brightly lit, and you see humanoid figures working on one of them. A booming voice announces, "Welcome, travelers and mechanics. I am Trassar of the Trigon. Damaged systems are identified on the lighted platforms. It is your advantage to proceed with repairs with all haste." And then the voice disappears.
You said we see some humanoids working. Is that our coworkers?
Go ahead and give me notice rolls. So I'll make yours, JT. Yep. You guys think that is the crew of the Distant Light, the other humans that are on board.
All right, I'll go like this, my fingers, and I'm like, let's get mechanicking.
Ryebacks will help too.
Well, before we get mechanicking, why are we getting mechanicking?
Because something's broken. Duh. That's as much as
I want to wave.
Honestly, that's as much as Kadura would think about it.
Sure, yeah, that totally makes sense. But I'm gonna try to get the attention of the Distant Light crew and see if they'll come over. Like, hey, come on. Are they under some type of duress? Like, are they, is there anything watching them or?
So they are kind of in a different set. Like, you could see them from where you are, but they're in the center on this raised platform, and so they're. So you guys are on this like outer ring area, and they're on this like center pillar. And there's probably about 60 feet between you and them, so you can shout to them if you want.
And that voice was clearly talking to us, correct? Like when we stepped in?
Yes. As soon as you guys entered through the airlock, it began speaking to you.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'll call out to the two guys. I can't remember their name right now. I got them wrote down at the house, but yeah, I'll call out.
So they kind of look over their shoulder, and they begin like frantically waving, like, don't talk to us, like, they're focused on what they're doing.
Okay. I look confused. What the heck is going on? All right, Kador, go fix something.
Okay.
So the ship's voice comes, the voice comes back on. it says, no travelers or mechanics will be allowed to leave the vessel until repairs are complete. Repair first, then reward. Repair first, then reward.
Hey, I like the idea of rewards. I'm going to run up to the nearest thing and just start repairing.
This seems very ominous, Kadora.
Look.
But you fix away.
So you guys, in order to get to what needs to be repaired, you're going to climb. Hold on. You're going to need to climb up this central, up this central tube, right? So there's, like I said, you're kind of like, there's like 60 feet between you and this tube, and then you got to climb up, which is another kind of 25 feet in the air. So you got to climb up there, and then there's that central pedestal, right, which is where they are and whatever they're working on. So like the floor has these illuminated like pathways that lead up to the central spire, and then they're illuminated up the spire on a ladder structure.
Okay. Well, how difficult will it be to get to the nearest one then?
It's not difficult. You just have to do it.
Okay. I'm going over there.
Okay. So you want to climb up to
Yes.
the central pedestal? Is anybody following him?
Yeah, I will. Rybax will.
Okay. So you guys make it up to the central pedestal with minimal difficulty. So when you get to the central pedestal, you find... hold on. You find the Distant Light crew. So Captain Stefan Wu and First Mate Janet James up at the top. They're very excited to see you, but they're also very concerned because they say we're trapped. So Captain Wu looks at you, Kadora, and he says, I'm happy to see a Kellion here, especially one who appears to be of the engineering persuasion. But I have to tell you, unless we fix this thing quick, we're going to have some serious problems. There is no heat, and there's no food, and I don't see any source of water. So unless we can get this thing working, we're going to be stuck here indefinitely.
Well, no use standing around and talking about how we're going to die. Let's get to work. I'll climb up to the first lit portion of it.
Okay, so the first thing that you need to... Here, let me go ahead and put these folks in here real quick. There we go. So there's Captain Wu and Janet James in the... There we go. Okay. All right. So the first system that needs to be repaired is hold on. Bear with me. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so they tell you that the damage systems are propulsion, sensors, communications. So it takes 6 hours each to fix each one of those sections. So so if you attempt it, if you get a raise, you'll do it in half the time. But but basically, I think this is where we're going to wrap, because we're right up against time. And I know JT is on the road already and stuff. But basically, here, so you guys are trapped in this ship. You got a bunch of stuff to fix. There may be other options. There may be other ways to resolve this situation. But think about it. So you've got this ship, the Tracer. It appears to have some kind of AI, which is what's holding you here. And then you've got at least one of the mechanical sages or probes that is inside this ship, which may or may not be a problem for you. So if you don't necessarily, like, you can fight your way out, shoot your way out, cut your way out. I mean, there's other ways to get out, but any of those may result in backlash from the Tracer. I would assume that it would. So there we are. So that's where we're going to end. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will pick this storyline up again next week. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you later. Good night, and have a great week.